Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Jordan Figueredo and I'm from CVSAN, and this is my friend, Little Miss Reduce. She loves to reduce waste, especially food, as you can see with all these yummy fruits and veggies she is saving. We'll get to that more a bit later. Today, we are going to learn about zero waste, the 4 Rs, why they are so important for public and environmental health, and what you can do at school and at home. We're also going to learn about how the stuff or materials we throw away is affecting climate change, because what we choose to do with materials we have is important. They never go away. They are either treated as resources and stuff we can use or become pollution. Climate change means sea levels will rise, we will have more bad storms and more smoke days. And right now, all of these things are getting worse. But if we work together, we can make things better. Before we get to the 4 Rs, who is CVSAN? At Castro Valley Sanitary District, CVSAN as we're known, we're responsible for two main things in Castro Valley. The first is wastewater collection, which is all the dirty water that goes down the drain from our sinks, showers, and toilets in Castro Valley. At CVSAN, we make sure it's collected underground through a system of pipes. CVSAN makes sure those pipes work well and the water is transferred to and cleaned at the treatment plant before going back out into the San Francisco Bay. The second thing CVSAN is responsible for is zero waste. The zero waste department is where I work. What does zero waste mean? It means we work with schools, businesses, and residents, or the people that live in CVSAN, on all the ways we can practice the 4 Rs and find our paths to zero waste. A part of the path to zero waste is collection of materials. We work with Alameda County Industries, ACI, to make sure materials are collected in the right place. One way we can all help with zero waste is by sorting what should go in the blue recycling, green organics, and gray garbage carts. Our goal is to put less stuff in the garbage. See how it's the smallest cart in this picture? That's the way it should be. Our work involves teaching people why zero waste is important and why everyone needs to help put less in the garbage. Our garbage goes to the Altamont landfill in Livermore and just sits in the ground forever. No one takes out the good stuff that was thrown away in the garbage. Garbage usually includes many things in there that could be reused, recycled, or composted. It's really sad. For that reason, and for the impact climate change has on Earth, is why we practice the 4 Rs together. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot help us reach for the goal of zero waste, which helps us protect our health and environment. In the 4 Rs, reduce is first because it's most important. And that's where Little Miss Reduce comes in. Hi, Little Miss Reduce. So as Little Miss Reduce knows, reduce means to use less of something, to reduce what might be left over. For example, take only what you can eat or share with someone else. You can also eat the things from the refrigerator that will be going bad soon. In the US, we waste about 40% of all our food, and this creates 7% of climate polluting emissions just from wasted food. We can all help reduce wasted food. Reducing waste has such a big impact on reducing climate polluting emissions because if you reduce waste from the start, there's less to make, recycle, compost, or even landfill later. As consumers, we need to demand that manufacturers make things that are recyclable or compostable, or things that can last longer, so less goes in the garbage. For example, things like snack bags and wrappers could be made from recyclable or compostable materials instead of these mixed materials that are plastic, paper, metal, all mashed together, and they end up in the garbage. For reuse, this is our reuse superhero again. She teaches us that reuse, our second R, means to use something over and over again and again instead of throwing it away. Let's hear more from again.
I defend the earth against the wastefulness of single-use products. Things like plastic straws, bags, and water bottles are usually just used once and then thrown away. They can get lost in the environment and become dangerous for many animals. The ocean alone has tons of plastic that just never goes away. The plastic in the ocean forms huge pools of trash called gyres that are very unhealthy for sea life. Instead of using so many single-use products, Reusing sustainable materials like this metal reusable water bottle instead of plastic ones can reduce waste.
Reuse helps significantly reduce climate change, and it's easy for us all to do. In addition to reusing things, as again shows us, reuse means you can fix things that are broken instead of throwing them away, and buy things like used electronics and clothing. This all prevents new materials and energy being used and climate pollution being created in the making of new products. So then there is recycle, and there are 4 different types of materials that our recycling superhero Blue likes to recycle. Let's hear more from Blue.
I get to transform used paper, plastic, and metal into recycled products. As long as the plastic I eat has a number 1 through 7 on it, I can recycle it into something new. Although, I can't eat foam. Foam gives me a tummy ache. By recycling, I make sure that our limited natural resources are protected. So instead of cutting down more trees, we can use recycled paper made from paper.
So we can recycle clean paper like junk mail, old tests, and boxes, plastic like containers, cups, bottles, and bags if they're bagged up and clean, metal like cans and foil, and glass. In addition to fighting climate change and global warming, recycling protects our natural resources, nature's gifts that help us to live. For example, for every 2,000 pounds of material recycled, on average, we save 6,000 pounds of climate polluting emissions from being released into the atmosphere. The 4th of the R's is rot, and there are 3 types of materials that green likes to rot. That's food scraps like peels, bones, shells, and rotting leftovers, food soil paper like paper plates, napkins, and cups, and plants like leaves, twigs, and flowers. All those food scraps, food soil paper, and plants would be generating greenhouse gas emissions in the garbage and landfill, harming our climate and planet. That's why we put them in the green bin instead, so they can be made into compost. Compost is like nature's vitamins, helping plants grow larger and stronger, helping keep more water in the soil, and compost even filters out pollution and bad things that come along in the rainwater running off the street. And for every 2,000 pounds of food scraps composted, 12,000 pounds of carbon polluting emissions are reduced. Compost is like magic. You can get free bags of compost made from the stuff you put in your green bin at CV San Recycles Day at Canyon Middle School on a Saturday in April and July. So after we practice reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, what's left over for garbage? Not much. Mixed materials such as pouches and chip bags, plastic utensils, gloves and masks, other things like glue sticks and markers, straws and lids, wipes, and foam. They all go to garbage. And do we like garbage? No. While it's wasting away in landfills, garbage is creating greenhouse gas emissions that are harming our climate and Earth. A total of 15% of human-caused climate-polluting methane comes from landfills because of all the rotting food, soil, paper, and plants that should have been composted. So the stuff we use and waste is creating those extra emissions, and it has a huge impact on climate change. We need to stop being the only living organism on Earth that wastes things. Instead, let's go with the path to zero waste. The path is different for everyone, but we're all trying to get to the same place. As Zero says, only together can we have a world with zero waste. Thank you for listening, and thank you for practicing the 4 R's, reducing waste, and helping the planet everywhere you can.